These are the boards that I ride predominantly. You actually haven't seen that pink board at all in any of these videos. I've surfed that orange one a couple times. I'm not sure with any of the new videos, but definitely some of the crazy old sessions I've had. Massive conditions, I think. I can't remember what boards I was riding. This one didn't last very long, this pink one, because I cracked the rail and then continued to surf it, and it just got a weak spot on it. And this is pretty much all I have at the moment. But let me work through this quiver with you guys and show you what I've got. This 511 on the side here. This is a GVW. You guys would have seen this in a fair amount of videos. I've got a GVW playlist actually. So let's talk about these boards. Tell you what I think is important about them. What I really like about these this GVW model is that it has got this reinforcing. They normally use this for your tail pads. It's just to stop that you know that you crack your rail, your toe rail and your heel rail. It depends on what you surf mostly. But I crack these rails like a lot, very easily. So we've put reinforcing and we've got carbon over here. So this is an EPS. You'll see all the ones that are like this. I've got a few EPSs. EPSs are my favorite because you can add more strength in the board for the same weight as a PU. So normally people complain about EPSs because they get them glass too light and then they sort of flex too much in the water. They don't feel very good. As soon as they hit bumps and chops, they start to slow down and there's no real engagement. So the guys complain about them all the time, but I found if you just glass them pretty heavy, they are super, super nice. So this one over here, I think this board actually feels the best out of all my boards. For sure, this is the best one I've had. It's a 511, 19 3/16, 2 7/16, 29.6 liters. It's a number 4. It's a small wave board from Agave from Vuren. It's like one of my favorite boards. But the problem with it is that it's a bit too thin for me. You guys would have heard me say that so many times. That's my 511. I really like this board. I'm just going to put it aside because we've done it. We've spoken about it. I don't know if you want to hear. Whoa. I don't know if you guys want any more information on it. Also, my grips are super important. This one I've had to re-stick on because I didn't put it in the right place, so just ignore that. It's meant to look perfect. But these little slits in the grip help my toes touch the board, so I can actually feel connection on the board. The arch bar is low, so it doesn't bother you at all, but it also gives you something to grab on. This tail kick over here, you see it's got like a flat section on the top here. I don't know if you guys can see that's like a flat section. This flat section is actually very important because it allows me to put my foot pretty much like on the kick. I find if the kick comes up and it just goes straight down, you can bury your foot in the corner here, but sometimes it's just nice to have. It's almost like a tail kick on a skateboard. I use it a lot. It feels pretty good to me. You guys will see in a lot of screen grabs. I don't really post too many of them, but if you pause the videos at the right time, you'll sometimes see my foot will be like right on the top of this grip. I've heard so many guys talk about this sort of stuff where they want the grips like, they think that the back of the grip should be like in front of this, in front of your back fin, because that's where you get all your drive from. I totally disagree. The drive comes from balance on the board and set in the rail. I need my back foot as far back as possible so I can get the most amount of responsiveness out of these boards. That's just the way I surf. Performance surfing, I suppose, is different, but ideally you should get more drive out of that section of the board, but you get a lot less pivot and you can't keep you can't maneuver as quickly, so you actually lose drive because you need to redirect and you can't afford the redirection. All right, guys, so next up we have this SDRT from Rusty. It's a 6'1", 19 and a quarter, I think, what I did. Yeah, 6'1", 19 and a quarter, 2.56, 32.6 liters. I sort of regret my decisions on the dimensions on this board. What I should have done is gone slightly thicker and kept my narrowness. I decided to go a bit wider because I thought it would help stability and also help on bigger waves to give me like drive off the curve of the rail while I'm bottom turning. But all it's actually done is made it less responsive and doesn't allow me to turn with tight arcs in like heavy sections of the wave. I can still surf it because it's still quite a light board and I'm surfing it in like, ideally I want to surf it in 6 to 8 foot waves. But that's my scale. My scale 6 to 8 feet is like some people's 12 to 15 feet. 6 foot for me can be like double overhead. The reason why I scale waves that way is because I don't want to let it get to my head when the waves are really big. I'd rather just say it's 6 feet all the time, even if it's 10 to 12 feet. I'll be like, nah, it's 6 foot, bro, it's no problem. It just helps me get out there, because as soon as I start realizing how big the waves are, I start to like, the nerves start increasing, and obviously that's not good because it affects your breath hold. But yeah, same build as the GVW. Gary actually made this board. I'm very happy with it. The GVW had a 6, then this reinforcing, and then a 4, and then the same reinforcing. This particular board has a 6, then this reinforcing in the bottom is a 6 plus this reinforcing. And to me, this build is the best. I'm getting the least amount of deck sink. They're the most rigid. I have put wooden stringers in my boards, but this one feels good. These boards feel super good, so I'm extremely happy. As you can see, my favorite grip, it's a performance step up. That's what it's for. I wish I just got it a bit narrow. It would be a perfect board. I can't tell you much about this model. It's meant to be a barrel model. It's quite like similar to the Yes Thanks. The middle section is moved a bit more further. I think the SD was made off the Yes Thanks model for more like San Diego type style waves, and then because the Yes Thanks has got a lot of curves, so I think the SD, they just made it a bit more like straighter, like a little bit less curve. I tried it, I didn't really like them, and then they made this one which was a bit narrower off the middle section back towards the tail over here, and it's meant to make it a bit more responsive. But then they've also changed the settings of the fins and made the fins a bit more like, they don't splay them out as much. So they've just stiffened up the tail. It's a nice board, it feels really good, but like I say, I think it's just too wide. I should have just gotten it a bit narrower. It would have been a magic board. All right, next up we have the Wade Carmichael keg model from Rusty. I dig the logo. I had one of these before, 511. It felt really good, especially when you put it on rail. It turns really nicely in the pocket. It's actually a super good board. The reason why I think I like it so much is because it's got a single concave. All these other boards have got like singles to doubles. They've got all these like fancy bottoms. But to me, the best bottom you could have on a board is a slight single. The middle of the single should be a little bit flat. Ideally over here it needs to be like a little bit flat and then splay out a little bit, but quite even throughout the board. The reason why singles are so good is because they just roll from rail to rail so much more better. You use double concaves on boards to help you get projection and purchase over chop, but if a wave is smooth, you don't need it. And truly, we mostly surf in smooth waves. I'm mostly surfing smooth waves, and then even if I'm surfing choppy conditions, I'll find smooth sections in those choppy conditions and I'll arc inside them. I've actually spoken about this before, where when you do your turns, if there's a lot of chop in the wave, look at the lines and direction of where the chop is going and start your arc in that line, and you'll find yourself like doing insane turns in heavy difficult sections. If you watch John Florence at Margaret's, he did that really well. The thing about this board, when it first came out, it only had I can't remember what we did on the bottom. I think it was only a 4 ounce. No, sorry, it was a 6 ounce on the bottom of this one, and then the top was this reinforcing and a 6 ounce. I think this reinforcing equivalates to a 4.5 ounce. It was way too light, guys. I was like, whoa. Because if you don't know, I'm paying for my board, so I definitely can't afford like super light contest performance boards. Like everyone actually has one in their quiver. I just don't. I think these ones came in under 3 kilograms. This one, the GVW keg, and then also the other Rusty came out really light. But this one came out a bit too light, and I just thought, no ways. Because I want to surf it every day. Everyone thinks I'm sponsored by Rusty. I'm really not. I'm paid. I'm like I don't know. I get like a discount on boards. But yeah, I'm not quite sure how else. Yeah, this is a 6019 2.44 30.3 liters. I really like the extra volume. I don't really need the extra 0.3 liters, but I was just struggling with my boards. They sink in, and I thought I'd just go up a little bit to make things a bit easier for myself. I wish I didn't put the other bit of glass in on the bottom deck, and I also wish they didn't repair this, because I think before they did this repair, the board actually felt pretty good. But when this little thing, I'm petty like that, guys. I'll feel 100 grams on my board with ease, because my boards are already heavy, because they've already I've maxed out. The best way to say this is that I've maxed out my weight balance on the board. So any repairs or anything like that, it just brings the board like way too heavy, and that's kind of where I'm at with this one. I'll definitely be using it this winter. You'll see it a lot more. Right now I've got 2 daily surfboards. That's what I'm riding. But I think it's enough on this one. Let's move on. All right, so now this is a Rusty enough said. Dims on this thing. It's 6.0, 20 inches wide, 2.6 inches thick, 33.2 liters in volume. This was a Facebook Marketplace find. I got it up in Belito. It cost me 750 Rand. It was quite beat up. I've had to like repair it in a lot of places. As you can see, it doesn't even have a nose. It's just a throwaway board. The waves that I surf mostly, I'm not going to take the boards that I spend a lot of money on and go, those better boards over there, they'll be much better for heavier waves. It will allow me to knife waves better, paddle them with more confidence. It's a lot more responsive. But if I make a mistake on that, I'm paying a lot of money. So unfortunately, it does affect my performance out there. So I can't really make the most of it, and I'm quite timid. So I'm not quite sure where this actually fits in, but I'm using it anyway. Yeah, nothing much to it. It's just a PU. Here's the grip tape stuff. I need it because I'm a heavy surfer. I surf super heavy footed. I know I shouldn't, but I just like to feel the board underneath my feet. I just want to push it all the time. So that's why I have to reinforce my boards. Plus I surf like arguably the heaviest beach break on the South African coastline. There's other waves, but I don't know if you can argue with that. I know there's other waves that are heavy, but geez, so's my local. Flipping gnarly every single day. It has a bit of a reputation. A lot of you guys will know. You'll understand. Most of the times when it's big, there's no one surfing anyway. I don't know many people that would actually surf it. I mean, it's different when you surf big waves and there's channels and you can paddle out in channels. But for me, you got to make it through one of the heaviest impact zones ever. You got to time your paddle outs. Sometimes you're waiting 40 minutes for a lull, so it gets quite real out there. But anyway, that's this board. You probably would have seen it in a couple of videos. I'm not too excited about it. It's just a, how could I say it, a Facebook marketplace throwaway board, something to subsidize boards that I really actually need. Which brings us to this Derek Gervin shapes, this DGS. This is one of Glenn's old boards. It's a 6'4". They don't really have dims on this. They just, like very similar to Baron. They just put a code on the board and then put the length of the board on the board itself. It's a V8 model. I really liked it. I thought it's pretty good. It's got like thin rails and sort of like a dome deck. It's got a pretty bad fin system on it. You can definitely feel. I remember if I use anything but futures when I went to Skeleton Bay, I felt my fins whistle. And when the waves are big here at home, yeah, my fins sort of like make this high pitched whistling sound. I've actually got a couple edits where you can hear it if you've got like a super keen ear. So I don't really like these fin systems, but it's what's on the board. Obviously, you guys can see it's a PU. Not much to it. I've surfed a couple sessions on this board. You guys would have seen it in a few videos. It's just another throwaway marketplace board. Got it off Facebook Marketplace. Just another board to subsidize the lack of boards that I have in my quiver. So I make do with what I have. It's not ideal, but it works well when the waves are kind of small. When I say small, generally like I use this for like 4 to 6 foot. Perfect. Anyway, that's another one of my boards that I have in my quiver that I actually ride. The boards that I'm showing you right now are the ones that I definitely ride. The reason why I'm showing you this board is because it's a 6'6" that I probably will use if I don't get a good 6'6" for the season and I've got nothing else to ride. I'm going to take this one out. As you can see, it's already been snapped. It's been repaired. It's super heavy. It's a bit too wide over the tail over here. So the one day I pulled into like a really big wave, like an 8-footer flipping proper drainer. And I tried to set the rail and the back of the tail just washed out like abnormally. And it's because the back of the tail is super wide. It's probably got a little bit too much lift as well on the tail itself. So water collected and it was just no good. Yeah, but the advantage of it is that it's super wide up front and it's like it paddles in like extremely easy. But in a way, this back section needs to be pulled in a bit more. And your tail rockers, guys, there's a universal tail rocker. I think it's 2 1/4. That's what I prefer. And I think the guys use also 2 1/2. But for me, 2 1/4 is the best. I'll use that on every single one of my boards. My rockers, I don't need a lot of rocker. You just need good curve in the actual rails because that's what's going to help you fit your board into the curve of the wave. This is a 6'6", 19 1/2, 2 5/8, 36.5 liters. It's glass, 6 and 6 on top and a 6 on the bottom. So I don't know, I'm just showing you guys this because it's like a backup board. It's what I got. It's the only 6'6" that I have at the moment. So yeah, I really could use another one, a proper one. Okay, now this board, interesting. I think you guys can recognize it. Tell me if you recognize this board. It's a Grow Blanks, from Eco Surf Supply. Shout out to those guys. They really looked after me and made me a board. These things are, I don't want to say indestructible, but they seem really strong. I haven't broken one. I've pulled into some death waves on this thing and nothing's happened. I definitely felt sketched out by myself, but the board was fine. It's actually meant to be glassed a 6. Let me correct that. It's meant to be glassed a 4 and a 4. That's how you glass these things. It's an agave blank, guys. So it's made out of an agave plant. There's different panels through it. The panels are glued together. You set the fins like you saw in that previous video. set the fins like you saw in that previous video, and then you glass it really lightly. These are actually the easiest to make, guys. These are cheaper to make, more environmentally friendly, stronger, and more fun to surf than any board that I've ridden. I think these things are going to take over. Yeah, there's only one manufacturer, on a bigger scale that's making these boards, and they're selling out. So if you can get your hands on one, talk to Eco Surf Supply, talk to Grow Blanks. They'll put you in the right direction. They got a couple connections around the world where a few people have these blanks, and you can get your hands on one. You can shape it yourself, glass it. It's just, yeah, super stoked. This is a 6.4, 19.40, 2.62, 35.1 liters. The thing with this board is that I thought I'd get a bit clever, get a 6.4, go a little bit wider. I don't know why I went through a phase of trying to go wider on my boards, but really you don't need to go too wide. Ideally what you should be doing is going thicker, because I want to surf on rail. I don't really want to have a wide board that's more stable. I don't need stability. I need to be on the rail. So that's just where I'm at. I've always been there, but you surf for so long, sometimes you forget what works, and then you try other things and it just doesn't work. So I'm a little bit bummed. I should have gone a lot narrower on this board. It seems some proper good waves. It's a rusty Slayer model. I really like this model. It goes really well. I think I could have just gotten it a bit narrower. Let's make another one of these. I'm super keen. I could definitely use a 6.6 like this. Hopefully we'll get a 6.6 ready for next year. This board might be up for sale because I want to replace it with another one of these. And obviously I can sell this one, replace it with another Grow Blanks, and I'm sure everyone will be happy. But that's a 6.4. I'm not quite sure what I haven't covered. It's a Josh Kerr model. It's got a single concave, which obviously I love the most. It's made for slabs, so really good board. Last but not least, this is a ELS, an ALS, Alton Lee Island. Shout out to Tide Lee Island. This is a 7.2 step-up gun. I got given to me by Willem from Christian Surfers. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, bro. I've used it a couple of times. It's seen some pretty big waves. It's a little bit too long and big for me to be comfortable taking off underneath the lip on a super heavy slabbing type sort of condition. So even 8 to 10 foot, I'd prefer 6.6. I don't really need a big board. I just need to get underneath it, and you can pretty much knife into anything. As long as you've got extra volume, yeah, you can pedal in quite easily. Go a bit straighter on the rails, a little bit narrower, and makes a lot of ways accessible. But it's called a bullet. It's super wide up in the front, as you can see, and then it's really narrow at the back. It's got a V sort of on the tail over here. Let's see this concave actually. Hard to tell. Anyway, I'm really stoked with this board. I've ridden it a few times. I like it. Thank you very much. Let's see what it is. The model is a bullet. It's a 7.1. Width is 20 inches. Thickness is 2 3/4. Liters is 40.5. For a guy by the name of Grumpy. So this is a second-hand board. It was given to me. It has come in useful. I really like it. I'm probably going to take it if I ever go to a big wave spot, like if I go to Ireland or if I go to Hawaii, Portugal. I'm going to take this board with for sure. Unless I get 2 really good 6.6s and then 4 6.0s. That will be a quiver too. I notice, guys, when I travel, the best way to travel is to travel with mostly performance boards, unless you're actually going to go hunt in big waves. Hey guys, just real quick, I had to cut that video short because the camera's overheating and I can't really film. I need to take off image stabilization. But this board over here, it's a Grow Blanks. It's all Grow Blanks. I've surfed this a few times way before. It's a little bit small for me. It is a 510 19 2 3/8 28.5 liters. It's probably one of the best models I've ever ridden. Such a nice board. The reason why I want to show you this board is because if there's anyone that can do airs and can get photos, you are welcome to try and ride this board and give us media. If you in South Africa, you're close by and you can get us media on this board, yeah, contact me and I'll hook you up with it. As long as you can give us content, you can ride it. It won't be yours forever, but you can definitely utilize it. It's got FCS2s. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching that video. I really appreciate it. I hope it came out well. It's just something that I know you guys have been asking me to do for the longest time, which I haven't done. Those are the only boards that I ride, really. So I've shown you the boards that I've ridden. I've got a couple other overflow boards, but it's not really worth showing you guys that right now if this camera's not playing game. Yeah, I need to take off image stabilization. But yeah, that's enough for now. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah, see you on the next one. Yep.